Listen, this transgender athlete thing is completely gotten out of control. Let's talk.
Push the weight in no flex. Flex the live is 1 in the 6. With the runner boy, you nigga, no question. You will run a motherfucker high stepping. Hey, you never had a big enough weapon. Motherfucker never learned your lesson. I'm a 88 pack nigga. I'm a 88 pack nigga. I mean, day walker, drink blood, fangs out, full moon, motherfucker change like a hoe. I'm just a nigga from the hood trying to stack a little cheddar for the money.
Drew Titan Bronx on deck. Shout out to the mighty LDBC. Now, I know this is a sensitive topic because everybody's so sensitive nowadays. But you got to understand, there's certain things that don't make sense. You can't make it make sense to me. Be who you are. Love yourself regardless. But there's just certain things that I refuse to accept as normal. How about this? I refuse to accept it as fair. What we're talking about is not homophobia or transphobia. We're talking about what's fair. We're talking about what's fair. I just saw this on the gram. I think this is a year-old video, though. This is in Good Morning Britain, their version of Good Morning America, or vice versa. I don't know who had it first, but salute to them because I enjoyed listening to this because it further proves that there is an agenda. And again, be who you are, but you are not going to force what you feel is normal on me. What they're talking about here is transgender athletes in the Olympics, but I'm talking about in all sports. Now, mind you, I believe this is from 2020. I believe it's in 2020, but I'm just now seeing this. And when they mention boxers, it makes you think. You got to draw the line somewhere. This has gotten completely out of control. What we're talking about is fairness, all right? Don't let anyone come in here talking about, oh, you're homophobic or you're transphobic. No, this is talking about fairness. Now, I want you to listen to this conversation. Listen to the conversation. And we're going to review what's being spoken about.
Even after hormone therapy, trans women will maintain some advantages. As you say, they're bigger, stronger. That is true. Trans women have disadvantages too. Their larger frames are now being powered by reduced muscle mass, reduced aerobic capacity. It's a big car with a small engine competing against a small car with a small engine. And all you see is the big car.
Like boxing and weightlifting. Clearly, it's a foregone conclusion.
Having a bigger frame
not worth
is going to
anything
be
anymore.
an advantage.
And I think the real
would you allow, somebody like Anthony Joshua to box in women's boxing in a year's time if he had the treatment?
There's a weight category issue. I'm not sure about the weight categories. He'd be a lot bigger than any woman, but if he was in a woman's size weight category, yes, I would.
You would let Floyd Mayweather,
crazy.
who is pound for pound the most successful boxer in male history, you would let him in a year's time compete at the same weight against women?
Yeah, if there's a weight category.
This is nonsense. I'm sorry.
It's absolute
How
garbage.
could you possibly countenance putting Floyd Mayweather, the most dangerous boxer pound for pound, arguably in the history of boxing, into a ring with women born to female bodies? This is where the argument becomes utterly ridiculous. And it's not transphobic to say so. It's common sense.
There's a fighter called Fallon Fox in the mixed martial arts world who is a big individual, gone into a fight, round one, broke somebody's skull.
More on that in a second.
So that was in 2014. Can you have something more recent? Trans women are not taking over women's sports.
Still relevant.
She said that was in 2014. Can we have something more recent? I just told you that I believe this was from 2020. We just had a swimmer, a trans swimmer, hop in the water. Not only did she outdo all the other women in the pool, but she started breaking records. Okay? But let's continue.
Trans women are not causing massive injuries. Trans women in rugby, for instance, haven't created one injury in the last 5 years.
There's a trans woman in cricket in
Yes.
Kent who averaged something like 17 playing men's cricket and now averages 135
on the verge of
playing
selection
women's
for
cricket
international
and was
cricket.
deemed Women Cricketer of the Year in Kent. That
Oh my God. So when this man was a regular cricket player, he was just a bench warmer. He decides he wants to be a woman and still play cricket. Now he's breaking records. Let's continue.
It's ridiculous. And nothing against that woman. I totally respect the fact she's transitioned and wants to be a woman. Fine. But you were competing against male cricketers at a certain level. And now your level, despite the treatment, has actually 10 times improved. How can that be fair?
She hasn't said whether she's on treatment or not. I would presume that she's not, because she hasn't said so. Again, if we watched her go under treatment, we would see a massive change in her
You
performance.
know, in your heart, and I respect the battle that you're waging to support transgender rights. And, you know, I get this is a real hot potato, very complicated. But honestly, when our viewers hear you say that Floyd Mayweather should be allowed to box against women of the same weight in a year's time if he just has a bit of testosterone treatment, and what I don't like about it is it's not just ridiculous and highly dangerous for women to even suggest that, but it makes a mockery to me of people like India who have actually gone through transitioning.
And it
makes transgenderism become a subject of open mockery.
Joanna,
And it
you've been
also
through
creates a
transition as well.
backlash,
Yes,
though,
but
because
do you not
people
see that? You
get
must hear that from
peeved
other
off
transgender people like
at
India.
things like this happening. I think women justifiably do feel things like toilets. I went to the Old Vic recently, and it's absolutely ludicrous.
That was from Good Morning Britain, and I think it was about 2 years old. What planet are we on, y'all? And I understand this woman is trying to fight for transgender rights, but you know what? You cannot make any of this make sense to me. All right, newsflash. Women are different from men. And I don't care what woman listens to this and say, oh, well, you know, there are some women that'll beat up your look, man. Clarissa Shields will beat up a lot of men. And salute to her. You know, we love our sister, but she's not beating Floyd Mayweather in the goddamn ring. Floyd Mayweather versus Clarissa Shields. Who you got? Clarissa Shields versus Manny Pacquiao. Who you got? Clarissa Shields versus, I'm picking small guys now. Clarissa Shields versus Tank Davis. Who you got? Stop playing with this thing. Now watch this. Tank is a small guy compared to me. He's a small guy. And I'm just using this as an example, guys. Don't make no jokes. This is a serious thing. Let's say a guy like Tank says, okay, boom, I'm a woman now. He starts taking treatments. In 24 months, he comes back, is fighting. He's competing as a woman now. You get in there, you see Tank, he's just wearing a tank top during the fight. And not only is he ranking in all the sanctioning bodies, but he's running through bitches. He's knocking everybody silly. And it's like, yo, that's Tank. That's still Tank. The same power, the same speed, but now he's knocking out women. Is that fair? Now watch this. Before y'all say, oh, it's fair, think about, would you, if your daughter was a pro fighter, would you want her in the ring against Tankette Davis? Not Giavante no more, but Jenna Davis. It's like, no, that's Tank. What are you talking about? He just grew his hair. The man just said they had a cricket player. Average player, when he played with the men, trans, took some hormones, came back, and now he's breaking all kinds of records. Now, this is 2 years old. The reason I'm pointing out that this is 2 years old, she said, show me evidence. Well, here we are, 2022. We just had a woman jump in the pool, a man jump in the pool. Now she's trans now. And not only is she beating her competition, but she's breaking records. And they're being etched in stone. Now, they mentioned Phelan Fox. That's Matt Mitrione, UFC fighter. I don't know if he still fights in the UFC, but I've seen him before. Decent fighter, heavyweight. And the person on the right is Phelan Fox, trans fighter. And he caught a lot of heat. I'm gonna read you a quote. This is Matt Mitrione saying this. He's chromosomally a man. All right? He had a gender change, not a sex change. A gender change, not a sex change, which means he still has a male equipment. He still has testicles. He still produces testosterone. Who knows? Maybe leading up to a fight, he wasn't on his medication. So the hormones wasn't there. So then, I'm sorry, I keep saying hormones. The estrogen wasn't there. You don't take the pills, there's no estrogen. So now your testosterone builds back up right before the fight. I don't know how this works. I'm just saying, the woman in the interview said, she don't know if the cricket player was taking her medicine. Who knows? Mitrione says he's still a man. He was a man for 31 years. 31 years. That's a couple of years younger than I am. He's a man. 6 years of taking performance and enhancing drugs. You think is going to change all of that? It's ridiculous. That is lying, sick, psychopathic, disgusting freak. And I mean that. Because you lied on your license and beat up a woman. Mind you, Phelan Fox beat up a woman and fractured her skull. That's disgusting, he says. You should be embarrassed. You should be embarrassed yourself. I'm just reading what it said. You should be embarrassed yourself. I meant to say of yourself, whatever. And the fact that Florida licensed him because California licensed him, or wherever the hell he did it, it's an embarrassment to us as fighters, as a sport. And we should all protest that. The woman that's fighting him, props to you. I hope you beat his ass. And I hope he gets blackballed and never fights again, because that's disgusting and I'm appalled by it. Now, I don't know what Phelan Fox is doing. I have no idea. But when I read this, I got enraged. Imagine your baby girl has all this talent. Well, you know what? How about this? I'll do you one better. Imagine Clarissa Shields becomes undisputed in everything. And then out of nowhere, here comes this woman blazing through everybody. Gets right up to Clarissa Shields, and Clarissa Shields gets in there and loses badly. They got memes. She done made the meme reel. They're making gift files of her. And this woman's getting celebrated all over the place. And then you find out, oops, transgender. And you know how we do. We were like, yo, wait a minute. Her shoulders are kind of big. Was she tested? And you know if the WBC's involved. Oh, you're just trying to ruin a historical night. You know how they do. You know how the WBA does. Nothing to see here. Everybody turn a blind eye, right? But then it comes out she's transgender. What are you going to say? Oops. I'm sorry. Didn't we kind of had something like that already? Freyshawn Cruz Dezern versus Jimenez, a.k.a. Jaime Munguia's doppelganger. All we said was, yo, didn't you, Mauricio, did you check her? He told us, shut up, you're bullying her because she's gay. No. Absolutely not. We're asking a question because she looks kind of butchy, man. And all we did was ask a question. Every time we ask a question, we're told to shut up. And how'd that turn out, by the way? Tell me how it turned out. Turned out she was on something, did it not? All right. I don't rest my case. Now, the damage already be done. In that scenario, Clarissa Shields probably, her skull will be messed up or whatever, and she'd be like, well, look, they let this happen. They done beat the fight out of me. I don't even want to fight no more. This is ridiculous. This is how they doing? I'm supposed to put up with this? Huh? What are we doing here, family? What are we doing here? None of this makes sense. Now, let's add to it. What if that was a relative of yours, your daughter, your niece, and she gets in there and gets her skull cracked? by another, what you thought was a damn woman. Come to find out, it was a transgender. How you gonna feel? The state athletic commission just said, hey man, you know, it was just some paperwork and she's on some hormones. So we thought, I mean, she's on some estrogen pills. So we thought, never mind, my baby girl's in the hospital now. Now I'm finding out she was in the ring with a man? What? What? Don't turn this to, oh, you're homophobic or you're transphobic. No, don't turn it into that. There's a WNBA separate from the NBA for a reason. A reason. There's male and female sports for a reason. We are separate for a reason. And in combat sports, the reason is safety. I'll say it again. In combat sports, the reason is safety. You guys really need to stop. Let me see if I can pull up a picture of Jimenez. Boy, listen to me. Listen to me. Let me pull up this picture. Let me share this screen. Okay? Look at that picture on the right. All we said was Mauricio Suleiman. Was she tested? And he went on a rampage. Look at that woman who doesn't want to be a woman, by the way. Doesn't want to be a woman, by the way. And he gave us his behind the kiss. Come to find out. What I'm saying is, this, I will not conform. I'm standing on my square. It's not right. A woman was injured. She could have died because she was in there with a man. They just said in cricket over there. Cricket. This guy was a bench warmer, and then a year later or so, after some estrogen pills or whatever they were taking, he's playing as a woman. And not only is he playing cricket well, but he's breaking records. And they're marking them, they're keeping them, they're maintaining them. You tell me if that's fair. If you had a child or your daughter on that team playing against that person, it's not fair. We're talking about fairness. We're not talking about being biased against someone because of their choice. You gotta draw the line somewhere. I can go so many directions other than sports with this conversation, but it's out of control. And I got mad when I listened to this. This is crazy. So you can believe what you want to believe. You can agree to disagree with me. I don't care. I'm telling you, this doesn't make any sense. And you can't tell me if you had a female relative and you would be happy knowingly they would get in the ring with a transgender athlete. What if your female child, got a silver medal because some transgender broke a record on their ass? And it could have been in any sport. Well, if this guy wasn't competing, my daughter or my niece or whatever would have broken that record. Or my sister would have broken that record by 9 seconds. But this guy not only beat my female relative, but he put the record out of sight by a minute. He put it out of reach because it's a man. We are not equal. These guys can't compete amongst the men. But now they identify as women, and look what's happening, man. Combat sports, draw the line. In sports, all sports, draw the line. This is ridiculous. And I don't care how you feel. This is my opinion. Bronx on deck.